Hello everyone, my name is Femi Olaiya. I am an architect and a building information management professional. I have about 8 years public sector experience in the United Kingdom and I currently manage digital construction for Portsmouth City Council. I am also a self-taught photographer. I specialize in architecture photography, portraiture and fashion photography. Today, I'll be talking to you about intentional learning. But before I start, I would like to specially thank Amaka Amalu and Project Lead for giving me this opportunity to speak to you all today. Intentional learning actually happens when you set out to do something specific. I'll define intentional learning as one's ability to attain and apply knowledge through deliberate effort, persistence, and continual personal development with the sole purpose of improving one's ability. But before we dig deeper, it is important to know and understand who an intentional learner is. An intentional learner is one who has the drive to acquire knowledge or someone who is basically motivated to learn. An intentional learner makes a deliberate effort towards their learning and they take responsibility for what they learn and how they are going to learn. An intentional learner devises ways and strategies to make their learning experience interesting and fruitful. If you fall in the category of someone who is keen to learn or who has a reason to improve their abilities or move their learning journey from point A to point B, I'll be sharing a few tips or things to be mindful of to be successful at intentional learning. As humans, we learn every day, either through watching TV, having a conversation with someone, reading a book. We learn one way or the other. We don't just pick up a book just for the sake of reading or learning a vocation just for the sake of having a knowledge. There must be something driving it, and you must have a goal. You must have a reason why you are trying to learn something or trying to do something specifically. My very first tip for you today would be for you to know your goal, have a purpose, find the easiest and the most effective way to attain that goal. Talking about knowing your goals, I'll share my story with you back in 1997 when I was in the School of Architecture in Yaba College of Technology. At the time, I struggled with making architectural models. Architectural models are actually miniature or small scale buildings made out of cardboards. At the time, I was very creative, but for some reason, I just couldn't keep up with making those models every week because I realized that wasn't my strong point. So I set a goal for myself to be one of the best students at making architectural models. And the sole purpose was to make that architectural model my center point of focus in conveying my design ideas. So in order to attain my goal, I had to look for a senior colleague in my department who is good at making models. I became friends with him and he taught me how to make models, and within a few weeks I picked up and I was able to improve my abilities in model making. So when it comes to knowing your goals, you have to have a purpose and there has to be a catalyst that will speed up the process of your learning. In my case, it was the senior colleague in my department. So my second tip for today is for you to have a plan. And when I say plan, I mean you should have a structured plan. Have a solid understanding of what you would require to be skilled at what you have chosen to learn. Be clear on how long it's going to take you to get to that level you want to be at. It's okay to dream, but make sure that structured plan you have set for yourself is realistic and you can actually keep up with what you have set for yourself. So my next tip is the application of the knowledge you have gained. It's one thing for you to have acquired a skill, and it's a different ballgame to be able to apply that knowledge you have gained on a regular basis. So they say practice makes perfect. So if you've acquired a knowledge or skill, there's a need for you to keep practicing to perfect that skill, to fine-tune it, and to be able to look for ways to grow it into something bigger than it was when you started. A perfect example is my photography journey. I picked up a camera for the first time in 2008. So my interest for photography grew out of me being idle when I first moved to the United Kingdom. And I basically needed something to keep me busy. And because of my creative background, photography was what I picked. So the interest was deliberate and I planned my way towards developing myself. And in less than a few years, I was able to understand how a digital DSLR camera works. And from there, I started building on it. I started buying books. I started buying tutorials. I started learning more and more on how the camera works, how light works, and the rest is history. And I didn't just learn how to work the camera, I also picked up skills along the way, like tools like Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, which were enabling tools to fine-tune my photography output. And it didn't just end there. I started to pass on that knowledge to other people who were in love with photography, basically. So as it is, I'm still learning and improving every day. So these days, we all know that learning new skills and gaining knowledge is an effort of a lifetime. You know what they say, that we don't stop learning until we die. So my last tip for you today would be for you to be able to impact the knowledge gained. That's after applying the knowledge on a daily basis and developing yourself, there's a need for you to be able to teach people. There's a need for you to be able to impact that knowledge. And that puts you in a position to be able to know where your performance gaps are. So for me, I'm constantly impacting knowledge. Either it's architecture, either it's digital construction or photography. I'm constantly impacting knowledge. I'm constantly teaching people. I'm constantly developing myself. I organize workshops every time at work, outside of work. I teach creative studio lighting in photography, and at every opportunity I get to speak about architecture photography, I go out and talk about it and teach people how to work the camera and how to make the best of what they have and grow their knowledge base. So in conclusion, they say the future belongs to those who can say it. We live in the digital age now, and for the young ones out there, data is the new gold. If you understand data and you can translate it into information, and that information can be transformed into some form of knowledge, that skill is very valuable now and it's going to be the big thing in the next few years. So if you're planning to learn anything, try going digital, try understanding what it means and how you can make your mark. So I would leave you guys here today. Thank you very much, Amaka, for having me here. God bless you all. Bye.